Okay, guys. Today we are going to be almost wrapping up the chapter. We have 2.9 and then we have 2.10 and then we have a chapter test. I would suggest strongly you start reviewing all of chapter 2 now. The test will be from 2-1 all the way to 2-10. I would suggest studying 2 or 3 sections a day starting today. If you do 2 or 3 sections a day starting today, by the time we get to Monday, our review day, you will have a very good understanding of what you need help with. And that way, if you know what you need help with, you can ask me either in the morning or after school or even during class during our review. Remember, gentlemen, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. Okay? You have to prepare. So, with that in mind, today we're going to be learning about percents and their applications. The first part of this, okay, there's 3 different parts. The first part of this is learning how to find a percent, a part, and a whole. All right? When you find a percent of a number, the whole itself, and the part of a number. That's what we're learning how to find today. There are 2 methods to doing this, the proportion method and the equation method. I find the proportion method infinitely easier than the equation method, but I like to teach both ways because different people learn different ways. Now let's explain these equations right quick. N over 100 equals is over of. N is the percent that they give you in the problem. Is means the part. And of means the whole. And we're going to go over examples, of course. If I want to write the word problem in an equation, it's done as such. What percent? What percent? What do we call something we don't know? We call it x. So x percent. It's kind of tricky working with x and the percent symbol. A lot of people forget to move the decimals at the end. So I made it a lot easier. Whenever you have an unknown percent, it's x over 100. If you have a known percent, like let's say they tell you 12%, remember we have to turn 12% into a decimal. So that would be 0.12. But if they say what percent, put that as x over 100. Of means multiply. Whole is the whole, which we call W. Is means equals. And part is part, which we represent as P. So, like I said, either one of these ways is fine. It will work always. It will give you the answer if you perform the proper mathematical procedures. However, I strongly suggest the proportion method. And now when we look at some examples, you're going to see why I really like the proportion method better. For example, first type of percent problem they can ask you. When we're looking for a percent, okay, I'm going to do the proportion over here first. Check out how easy this is, guys. Pay attention. What percent of 12 is 2.4? Okay, what percent? We don't know the percent, so that's n over 100 or x over 100, I don't care. Equals is. What's the is here? What's the is here? Is 2.4. What's the of here? 12. That make sense? It's pretty easy, isn't it? Now cross multiply. 12n equals 240. Now, how do we get that 240? Well, do you guys remember what you do when you multiply by powers of 10? What do? You move the decimal 2 places to the right. Excellent, gentlemen. So that's how I got 240 nice and easy. Divide by 12 to both sides to get my n alone, and n will equal 20%, because they're looking for a percent. Does that make sense? Okay. Equation method. We'll do it in blue. Okay? You don't have to do it both ways, guys. You just got to choose one way that works for you. What percent? Well, we say when it's a what percent, we're going to represent it as x over 100. Of, that means times. 12 is, means equals 2.4. Bless you. What's x over 100 times 12? Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, boys. 12x over 100 equals 2.4. How do we cancel out the 12 over 100 that's being multiplied to the x? Multiply by, and then I heard a mumble. Multiply by the reciprocal. Thank you very much for those of you who are paying attention. Thank you. For those of you who are lost here, I strongly suggest a tutor. X equals 2.4 times 100 is 240 over 12, which still will equal 20%, because that's what I'm looking for as a percent. Just on this first example, which one do you guys like better? The proportions, it blows it away. Night and day. Less math to do, less setup. It's a lot easier. You just got to read carefully. Finding a part. 32% of 8 is what number? 32%, so 32 over 100 equals is, what is the is here? X. And what is the of? 8. Now, I saw some people go, oh, is 8. Don't go backwards. Go forwards. This is that. You understand what I just said there? This is that. Okay? And it's 32% of that, of the 8. So in this case, cross multiply. I got 100x equals 256. Divide by 100. What's the trick when we divide by powers of 10? Move the decimal place to the left as many places as there are zeros. So the answer here would be 2.56. Very good. I don't put a percent sign because I'm not looking for a percent here. I'm looking for a number. Sir, you cannot cross cancel because you're not multiplying these fractions. You're setting up a proportion, son. Thank you for asking, but no, you cannot cross cancel. What he asked is, basically, can I go, oh, 8 goes into 8 one time and 8 goes into 32 4 times? Absolutely not. No way, no way, no way. Thank you for asking. Okay. Could you simplify the 32 and the 100? Yes, but that's just going to make more work at the end for you. Okay? Now, if we want to do this by equation, 32%, 0.32 of times 8 is equals x. When you multiply 0.32 times 8, I promise you, you get 2.56, which equals x. Again, it's a number, not a percent, so you do not put a percent sign. Third type of problem is when we are finding the whole. And accidentally I put part here, but it's when we're finding the whole. Okay, sorry about that. So, let's do this. Proportion. Whoa, bad thing to have on. Okay, proportion. 20% of what number is 8? 20%, right? And over 100 is, equals, rather, is over of. What's the is? What's the is? 8. What's the of? For the person who said the is was x, do you see where you screwed up? Oh, okay, thank you, my brother. Okay, this is 20x equals 800 divided by 20. X is going to equal 40. Very good, gentlemen. That's not a percent, so we don't put a percent sign. If I wanted to do this by equation, okay, 20%, 0.2 of times x is equals 8. Divide by 0.2, and x equals, I promise, 40. So that makes sense, gentlemen. Sir. If it's 2%, it'd be 0.02. Yes, sir. When we're going from a percent to a decimal, look, I have a little trick that you guys can, I hope, use forever for the rest of your life. When I'm going from percent to decimal, what's the last letter of decimal? L, which represents left. Percent to decimal, left. Now, if I go decimal to percent, don't I have an R in percent? R represents you go to the right. Does that make sense, guys? So percent to decimal, L, left. Decimal to percent, R, right. 2 places. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, discounts and markups. Hugely important. If you ever plan on buying anything or going out or eating anywhere, going to a restaurant or spending money, going to a sale event, you better know discounts. Okay, you have to. Okay? When we're dealing with discounts, you're subtracting a certain percentage from the original amount. In other words, you're going to be subtracting a discount from the original price. You're going to be subtracting a discount. So how does this work? Example 1, a shirt that costs $38.50 is on sale for 30% off. Find the discount and the sale price. Okay. First thing you got to do is you got to find the discount. It's 30% off, right? So they're going to find 30% of $38.50 and they're going to subtract it. So the first part is to find the discount. What is 30% of $38.50? So $38.50 times 0.3 is $11.55. This is my discount. This is what I am going to be taking away from the original amount. So, step 2, $38.50 minus the discount of $11.55. So that's my original. This is the discount. So this is 5. I gotta borrow. So you're going to end up paying $26.95. That equals what's called the sale price. Please pay attention, guys. The sale price is the price after a discount. The sale price is the price after a discount. And that's how you find a discount. Very, very useful. Now, the opposite of that is called a markup. And in a markup, you are adding a certain percentage to the original amount. You are adding the markup to the original price. So, for example, a shirt costs a department store $12. If the store applies a 300% markup on the shirt, how much do they sell it for after the markup? Someone said 32. Okay, they're trying to give me answers without even thinking. Please don't answer. Don't give me an answer right now because you don't know the answer right now. With all due respect, this is why we learn, and this is why we set up equations. So please don't just randomly throw out beautiful numbers because every number I heard right now was wrong. First thing you do is 12, you got to find the markup, times, how do we write 300% as a decimal? 3.0, just 3. So that's $36. That is the markup. That is what I'm going to add to the original price. Now step 2, the company paid $12. That was the original amount that they paid. Plus they're going to add 36, which is the markup. And then they're going to sell it for $48. That is what's called, bless you, the selling price. Please note the difference. The sales price is the price after a discount. The selling price is the price after a markup. Yes, sir.
Why are we adding 12 to it?
because 12 was the original amount. Didn't I mark it up 300%? I marked it up $36. So it's 12 plus the $36 markup. I'm paying. You got to pay $48 to buy that shirt. No. The company bought $12. Okay, that's what they paid. They want to increase that price. They want to mark it up by 300%. So 300% of $12 is $36. That is the markup. That is what I am adding to what I already purchased. So the $12 that I spent plus a $36 markup, the consumer, the buyer, the customer will pay $48. So for every time they sell that, I'm making $36. You don't sell it for $36. That's the markup. That's what you're adding to the original. Thank you. Good question. Does that make sense? Okay. Another example of this. The bill at a restaurant was $56. Find the total amount you must pay after a $20 tip. This is the same thing. When you are giving a tip to a lady or a gentleman, a waiter or a waitress, are you adding to the total or are you taking away from the total? I'm adding to the total. So step one, $56 times 20%, which is 0.221. That's going to be $11.20. That equals the tip. You are going to add that tip. This is like a markup, buddy. Remember you were asking why do you add it? It's just like a markup. You're adding this to the original. So step two, you pay $56 for the meal plus $11.20 for the tip. So in the end, you paid $67.20 total for the meal. That's your total bill after tip. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother. Okay, I just told you what percent to tip. On average, you should tip a waiter 15% if they just did a regular job. Anything above that for a really good waiter, I suggest 20%. Okay? Being a waiter is a hard job. They get paid like $2.15 an hour. So they live off of tips. That's what they live off of. So they don't have minimum wage because they make tips. Their minimum wage is like $2 or $3, something like that, really low. Okay? Now, last thing, guys, we're almost done. Simple interest. Simple interest is something you have seen since probably 6th grade, okay? It's very, very important. I am going to explain this very, very easily to you, so hopefully you can understand it. All right, simple interest is the amount of money you earn from an investment. Think of it this way. If you put $1,000 into a bank account, the bank uses your money, believe it or not, for investments. They basically make money off of your money. Therefore, they pay you a percentage of those earnings, which is called interest. When I deposit $1,000 and you deposit $1,000 and 1 million people deposit $1,000, okay, they have a ton of money. They take that money and they make investments in the stock market, they buy property, real estate. I don't know exactly what they do because I'm not a banker, but I do know for sure they invest our money. Whether they win or lose, they got to pay us for that privilege of them using our money. They basically are getting rich off of our money. I mean, that's literally what it is. So they're paying us a little fee for being able to use the money. That's called simple interest. And it comes from a formula that states I, capital I, equals PRT, where capital I is the interest earned. That's a dollar amount. R is the rate, the interest rate, which is a percentage. T is time in years. And I forgot that P, sorry about that, P equals principal. Now, principal is basically what you start with. Okay? It's basically what you start with, what you invested, what you started with. The amount that you put into the bank, the amount that you put into the investment. P is principal, what you started with. Okay? It's literally that easy. Now, how does it work? All right. You deposit $840 into a savings account that earns a simple interest rate of 4.5% per year. You want to keep the money in the account for 4 years. How much money will you earn? Check your answer for reasonableness. Okay, you're looking for the money you're earning, so you're looking for the I, the interest, equals P, the principal. What's the amount we started with here? $840 what we deposited, that's our starting rate. What's the interest rate? What's our R? 4.5%, but how do we work with percents in decimal form? So that would be 0.045, very good, 2 places to the left, times T in time for years. How many years? No. How many years do they want to have this in, guys? T is 4, right? T is 4 for 4 years. Does that make sense? Okay, now, Mr. Morrow, this is really ugly. Yeah, it is. That's the way life goes. 840 times 4. 0, 6, 1, 3,036. So I have 3,360 rather, times 0.045. Now, some people may say, how did you multiply 840 and 4 first? What property did I use to allow me to do that? Commutative property of multiplication. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of that. Good job, guys. So now let's multiply. 0, 0, carry the 3. 15 times 3 is 18. Carry the 1. 15 plus 1 is 16. Done. Skip a level. 0, 4, bless you. 2, 12 and 2 is 4. Carry the 1. 12 and 1 is 13. Skip a level, and now zeros. So 0, 0, 0, 0. Bless you. 0, 0, 2. Carry the 1. 7 and 4 is 11. 1, 1, 4, 1, 5. 1. There's 1, 2, 3. So you can expect to earn $151.20. That's what you will earn. That equals I. That is the amount of money that you were paid to invest $840 in this account. Sir? No, in real life, unfortunately, nowadays they're paying 0.01%. Yeah, it's very low because we have a very weak economy right now, so the banks are not paying us a lot of interest. It's very sad. So if you do the math there, for every $1,000 you make $1. Yes? I'm sorry?
For all of these you showed us, we have to put the dollar sign.
Yes, you have to label everything with units. Dollars or feet or centimeters or inches, always units. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. That's a good question. I'll get to it right now because we already finished the lesson. I believe. Yes, we did. Okay. It's actually a great question. What my boy asked was, let's say you go to a store and a jacket, okay, sells for regular price is, let's just say, to make our lives easy, $100, okay? Now, sometimes they have, I know exactly what you're saying. They'll say, Sunday, 50% off day, right? So they'll say Sunday is 50% off. But then sometimes they'll have like a little star here, and they'll go, there's an additional 20% off for members. Like, let's say you have like a card member like at Costco or something like that. So let's do this. This is going to be really fun, actually. What you have to do first of all is, you have to find 50%. What is 50%? What is the first sale price? So 100 times 0.5 is 50. So that equals my discount. Step 2, 100 minus 50 equals 50. That's my sale price, right? But now, they said you can take an additional 20% off. What most people do is they go 20 plus 50, it's 70% off, Mr. Morrow. That's wrong, because that's 70% off of the original. This is 50% off the original, and then it says an additional 20%. So now you take the $50 sale price, multiply that by 20%, which is $10. This is your discount number 2. Now you take that should be a 4. Now you take the $50 sale price minus your second discount of $10, and you end up paying $40. Does that make sense, guys? You see the difference there? If you add the percentages, you're going to say that it's 70% off, and you're going to think you're paying $30, but that's wrong. It's yes, ma'am. So does that make sense, guys? Promise? You see the difference, bro? If I would have gone 50 and 20, I would have said 70% off. And then I would have said 100 times 0.7 is 70, which equals my discount. So 100 minus 70. You would have thought that you were going to be paying $30. That's wrong. It's 50% off the original. Bye-bye, my man. God bless you. Which equals $50 discount. 100 minus 50 is $50 sale price. Now you have the additional 20%. So $50 times the 20% is $10 for discount number 2. So then $50, which is the sale price, minus discount number 2, $40 is your ending price. That's a very good question. Thank you, son. Homework is valid. God bless you all.